All right, the South region, the Baylor's region. All right, this region, honestly, not too many upsets. Kind of give you guys a break after, the whole West and East, mainly the West, and a lot of upsets. But moving on to the first game, Baylor versus Hartford. Baylor. My buddy told me, he's like, all right, we're gonna do a bracket group and we're gonna put money on it. And then right after that sentence, he said, After that sentence, he said Hartford's gonna beat Baylor. After I told him Baylor was my champion, and I'm like, dude, if we're putting money on this, please pick Hartford to beat Baylor. Please, I will laugh because Baylor is going to steamroll Hartford, and it's not even gonna be close.
I don't know anything about Hartford, but they're apparently 15-8, have lost but to Villanova by 34 and to UConn by 12. I think that's enough to tell you how bad this game is going to be. Baylor will steamroll on.
Mm-hmm. North Carolina, Wisconsin. Honestly, toss-up game for me. I think both teams could win. North Carolina playing decent basketball down the stretch. Wisconsin not playing as great. But Wisconsin, I think, played in a better conference and has more senior leadership. So I'm going to give the game to Wisconsin just solely based off those two facts. But honestly, it could go either way, and whichever team wins is going to get steamrolled by Baylor in the next round.
I think this will be one of the better games of the NCAA tournament. I'm going to try to be a little bit more quiet now, as I know my parents and brother are probably trying to sleep now. But North Carolina and Wisconsin, this will be a very good matchup. Wisconsin had a great start to the year and then fell off a cliff. North Carolina was the exact opposite. They ended the year on a pretty nice run. But I'll go with UNC to move on to the next round. As I've said multiple times already, I believe in great head coaches. Roy Williams is probably one of the best coaches you're going to find, not named Coach K.
Or Boeheim.
Or Jim Boeheim. That's true. He's also a great head coach as well.
Has more wins. Okay.
All three of those head coaches are outstanding.
It's the ACC triple threat terrifyingness.
Yeah. But I'm going to go with North Carolina to pull off what should be a very fun game versus Wisconsin. It'll be very good. Lots of twists and turns, lots of lead changes, very close. But I think North Carolina pulls off the very close win and a fun one, and then just gets absolutely smoked in the next round.
In a world where half of Villanova's starters aren't on the bench because of injury, Villanova would steamroll Winthrop. They're not only half of their team is injured, they're on the dreaded 5 line. The 5 line is terrifying for teams. I only have 1-5 advancing this year, and obviously that was Creighton. So you already know who I'm going to pick. The Winthrop in an upset, solely based off the fact that Villanova's starters are injured.
Yeah, Villanova's got healthy players. I think they obviously beat Winthrop. But for Villanova, they're missing Colin Gillespie. That's like taking away like Isaiah Livers and Hunter Dickinson essentially from Michigan. Because Colin Gillespie is the best player for Villanova. He literally does pretty much anything and everything for them, and taking him off that team for the season is a massive loss. And then they have yet another person who went out too, who's also a starter. I forget what his name is, but they've said he's a pretty big loss as well. So solely based on, of course, the two guys going out for the year, I pick Winthrop to get a very close win against Villanova. Also, they're 23-1.
Oh wow!
So,
dang Winthrop!
Yeah,
Winthrop!
They had a pretty
against who? Against who? Santa Barbara of San Diego of Oregon? I'm just kidding.
Says their notable wins are against North Carolina, Greensboro.
Oh.
And
you got me excited there for a second. Wait, you mean the team that you picked to originally beat Florida State?
Yeah, you remember them from the other video, but they beat North Carolina Greensboro by 8, and then Furman by 16. That's all it shows. So, but after Villanova lost to both Georgetown and Providence towards the end of the year without Colin Gillespie, that shows me that they don't exactly have the manpower that they used to. And a team like Winthrop, even though it's Winthrop, I think Villanova significantly undermanned Falls.
Purdue, North Texas. I don't think that's the same here. I know it's the dreaded 4 line.
Nah.
It's Purdue. I trust Purdue. I trust Purdue. Obviously, didn't have the greatest game against Ohio State, but honestly, who did in the tournament? Even Illinois looked very, very... I mean, they looked good, but then they let Ohio State seep back in. But Purdue also... Real talk. Why did you take out the guy who scored your last 10 straight points when you were playing against Ohio State? Why did you take him out in overtime? How stupid are you? That's like Michigan taking Hunter Dickinson out if you're in overtime after just having him just scored 10 straight points. Or like Mike Smith making a step back 3 to win the game instead of giving it to Hunter Dickinson, who just scored 8 of your last points and has great positioning. Oh, wait, that did happen against Ohio. You see what I mean? Okay. Purdue wins. Rant over. Purdue wins.
But for Purdue and North Texas, yeah, Purdue. Purdue's a really good team. They have Travion Williams is an outstanding player. They also have a 7'4" center. And Jaden Ivey is a really nice freshman point guard. I've seen him play. He has some potential for sure. But Travion Williams is the big-time player for Purdue. And then when you have a 7'4" center, well, yeah, that's a big-time piece as well. So Purdue beats a 17-9 North Texas team who was lost to Loyola Chicago by 8, Arkansas by 15, and West Virginia by 12. So they haven't beaten any of the big teams in the tournament. So I don't think they beat Purdue either.
All right, Texas Tech, Utah State, Texas Tech. I'm not even gonna elaborate. I mean, I know Utah State's had a good year. Obviously, being not a Power 5 team and getting a bid without winning your conference is pretty nice. Utah State, though, in the Mountain West, which is a pretty decent conference, head top to bottom, but give me Mac McClung and Texas Tech. That's not even really, no, give me Texas Tech.
I was a little surprised to see Utah State making it into the tournament, especially over Louisville.
Not even them just in the tournament, but not in the first 4. I would have thought it would have been Utah State over Wichita State.
Yeah, that one surprises me, but... honestly, I think Texas Tech should beat Utah State pretty handily. The big-time results for Utah State were, well, it has a couple of their losses in here, which is by 3 to by 3 to BYU. I'm sorry. By 16 to VCU. They also lost to San Diego State, Colorado State, and then lost to Boise State twice, who was awful at the end of the year. But in any case, even with Utah State's results, I still take Texas Tech, who has Mac McClung and other good players.
Others, Mac McClung and others. Now Arkansas Colgate. I'm sorry, but the toothpaste college doesn't move on. Give me Arkansas. The toothpaste college does not move forward.
Colgate has had a decent. They played 15 games. They are 15-1, but they have played 0 opponents with a top 75 NET. So I'll go with Arkansas to win this one handily.
Now this is my personal game of the first round. This is the game I want to watch more than anyone. This is the one that as soon as I saw it happen, I'm like, this game is gonna be fun. Virginia Tech and Florida. It's gonna be a fun game. I'm gonna take those. I'm gonna take those Hokies though. Give me Virginia Tech in a close upset over Florida.
Virginia Tech didn't exactly have the greatest end to the year, but neither exactly did Florida. I think Virginia Tech got a very low seed for what their record is. I mean, they're 15-6. I'm surprised they got all the way down to 10. I figured like a 6 for Virginia Tech, but they're down at 10, I guess, and they'll be playing the Florida Gators. This will be, again, one of the better games of the NCAA tournament. Very, very fun. But I pick Virginia Tech to pull off what will be a very close upset of Florida. Should be very fun to watch. Gators have never really exactly been the same team when Keontae Johnson had a health scare early in the year. It's good to hear that he's doing okay. But Virginia Tech really has an all-around team as well. They're normally an offensive team, but they seem to have a little bit of some defense this year, which is big time for Virginia Tech, and I've watched them play. They're pretty good. So I'll pick the Hokies to move on and edge out the Gators.
Number 2, Ohio State. Number 15, Oral Roberts. Dwayne Washington has 30 points. E.J. Liddell has 32 turnovers, and the Oral Roberts whatevers win. I'm just kidding. Ohio State wins. I just wanted to pick on E.J. Liddell for having so many turnovers late in games in the Big Ten tournament.
I don't think we even need to discuss this one. Just put it in for me, and we'll just move on to the second round.
I don't think we need to discuss this next one either. For you, it's Baylor, North Carolina. For me, it's Baylor, really. Wisconsin. I think we both know who we have moving on.
I think North Carolina, Wisconsin are both decent teams. Compared to Baylor, they're well, not much.
All right, moving on. Purdue and Winthrop for both of us.
Oh, this should be an easy one too.
Yeah, no, give me Purdue. That one's pretty clear cut.
6'4" or 7'4" center, good point guard, Travion Williams.
The next side, it gets a little bit interesting. Arkansas versus Texas Tech. Arkansas's looked great. Give me Mac McClung. Give me Texas Tech in a close one. I wouldn't be surprised if Arkansas surprised me and won this game, but it's also just freaking Arkansas. I want to see them win. I want to see Arkansas do good, but I just can't rightfully pick them. So give me Texas Tech.
I was really high on the Razorback train until they lost in the SEC semifinals to LSU. So I think Arkansas is a solid team. They're very good. They're also up against Texas Tech, who has Santos Silva and Mac McClung and Terrence Shannon Jr., who can play as well. Kyler Edwards is okay. But I like Chris Beard. He's also a great head coach. All of those things add up for nightmares for Arkansas. Also, Texas Tech is one of those defensive teams that gives offenses issues. So I go with Texas Tech to pull off what should be a very fun and close game.
Virginia Tech, Ohio State might be a fun game too, but I think it'll be a little bit less of a fun game than Arkansas, Texas Tech. I don't think Virginia Tech has the firepower to keep up with Ohio State, even with Ohio State's not so great defense. I don't think Virginia Tech has the firepower to keep up with them, so give me that team down south.
Virginia Tech and Ohio State. Ohio State has had a very bad habit lately of deciding to blow games late and just hand it away to the other team, specifically in the Big Ten tournament. They were bombing Minnesota and decided to let Minnesota all the way back into the game, and, well, they almost lost it.
Then they were bombing Purdue, and they let it go to overtime.
Purdue.
They did the same to Michigan.
Yeah, they did it for 3 games in a row. They had a big lead on Purdue, blew it, went to overtime, and ended up winning it. Then against Michigan, again, did the exact same thing. Got a big lead, absolutely blew it, and well, we were Mike Smith horrible decision away from probably winning the game. But
And then they almost lost to freaking Illinois, but Ayodasumu decided, you know what? I saw Mike Smith yesterday. I can do what Mike Smith did, but I can actually make it. And I'm gonna be Damian Lillard. Step back. Way off. As soon as I saw him do that, I'm like, I'm getting
but anyways, Ohio State, they really need to stop their whole blowing the game late habit, because that's not something you want going into March. I think they'll right the ship against Virginia Tech, though. Give me Ohio State to move on.
Baylor, Purdue, 7-4 center. Don't matter when you're playing Baylor. Give me Baylor. It'll be a closer game. Baylor's toughest test of the tournament, but give me Baylor pretty safely. 6 or 7 point cushion.
Purdue's okay. I mean, Zach Edey's obviously a 7'4" center, which is hard to match up against. This is also Baylor. Purdue does not have a shot against Baylor. I think Baylor wipes out Purdue and absolutely spanks them in the Sweet 16, goes the Elite Eight.
And Ohio State, Texas Tech. As much as I still want to pick Texas Tech and Mac McClung, Dwayne Washington is just insane. Getting that team down south again. Well, in a closer one.
For Ohio State, Texas Tech's really good. Mac McClung can play. Dwayne Washington has been absolutely going on a tear recently, putting up like 30 points a game in the Big Ten tournament. EJ Liddell is very good. They have like 30 good transfers. So I'm going with Ohio State to win a comfortable one against the Red Raiders, paying Baylor and Ohio State against each other.
That'll be a fun one. Baylor, Ohio State will be a fun one. I don't think Liddell's going to play a great game against Baylor, and I think Washington is going to play well, but all the rest of the guards for Baylor are just going to... Jared Butler and Dwayne Washington are going to go almost shot for shot. Obviously, Baylor... why did I just forget his name? The Baylor guy. Butler. No.
Jared Butler.
I literally said Jared Butler, and then I forgot what his name was. I'm so stupid. But Jared Butler's going to do it, and then he'll have all his teammates. I don't think Liddell has a great game, and I think Baylor... Not big win, but again, a comfortable 6-point win, moves on to the Final Four.
Baylor has a very solid backcourt of Jared Butler, Maceo Teague, Davion Mitchell. Excuse me. Down low they have Jonathan Chamuchachua and a couple other pretty good centers. So
how long did you practice that this season? How long did you practice saying that right all season? Machachua.
I've heard it quite a few times watching Baylor, so I've just
before these recordings, Mitch is in the bathroom in the mirror going Machachua.
But Jonathan Chamuchachua is a decent player. They have some nice centers. Obviously, they have a lot of really good players. I think Ohio State will give the Bears everything they can. But Baylor's Baylor. They move on in what should be a very close game. I think the Buckeyes will, but if the Buckeyes still have their blowing games late problems, they'll give it away to Baylor and get blown out late.
And that's our South region. We got one more region to go. We got the Midwest region. So we're going to be back with the Midwest region in a little bit here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Again, happy March.